We've got breaking news coming in this afternoon. The ANC calls for a return to the negotiating table in the fees must fall matter. The ruling party says that sinister forces have hijacked the protests. This has subsequently distracted from the real dilemma of the high cost of education in South Africa. The ANC says that as a party, they remain committed to equitable access to education. Well, this is breaking news coming through this afternoon with regards to the hashtag fees must fall matter. The ANC has come out and released a statement of sorts with regards to this. The ANC is calling for a return to the negotiating table in the fees must fall matter. The ruling party says that sinister forces have hijacked the protest. There has been reports of individuals who aren't necessarily students getting involved in the hashtag fees must fall protest, looting stores and so forth. Now, this has subsequently distracted from the real dilemma of the high cost of education in South Africa. But let's get an update now. We are joined by the ANC spokesperson, Mr. Zizi Kodwa, who joins us on the phone line. Good afternoon to you, spokesperson, and thank you for joining us here on ANN7 this afternoon. First and foremost, just give us the ANC stance with regards to what we are seeing unfold at various tertiary institutions across South Africa.
We call on all student bodies, on all student representative councils and all stakeholders to return to the negotiation table. What is concerning us and the most is that in a number of universities where we have seen destruction of property, where we have seen arson, we have seen anarchy in the main, a number of people who are arrested are non-students. In other words, the protest of students has now been hijacked by criminal elements. What is clear is that if you look at the number of universities that are now not being able to proceed with their academic year, not only does it deny or destroy the future of many generations, but also it allows elements that undermine the very same right to protest. And student leaders have a responsibility to defend this right, which many generations of students fought for before. And therefore, the only way we're calling for student bodies, student associations, and student representative councils, as well as student sectors within education, is to go back to negotiation table and actually allow those who want to go back to class, who are quite encouraged by a number of universities, a number of students who have gone back to class, who have resumed learning, and we want more students to go back to class because there is no loss in going back to class, at the same time engage in terms of the genuine demand that a number of students campuses are raising.
But spokesperson, what is your response then to calls by certain SRC leadership saying that they want to negotiate with university management, they want to negotiate with government, but every time they are called into these meetings, it's as if they are cornered and they are being told what needs to happen and there is zero negotiation. What is the ANC's response to allegations of this nature?
That's why we make a call that in all stakeholders, including university management, some of them who are intransigent, who are exacerbating the situation, we need a cool-off period. A lot of harm, a lot of destruction has happened already. I think we need to make sure that we minimize our demand. The only way to minimize our demand is to go back to the negotiation table and agree on a minimum demand. Those minimum demands which will normalize the situation of what must happen. From a point of view of the ANC, which is against the policy of the ANC, no child must be excluded from accessing education because coming from a poor financial background and because education is a basic right. And that fundamentally it must be the basis of any negotiation. And we think if you look at the number of students who are in institutions at the moment, institutions of higher learning, will not be affected because majority of them who comes from this category are already beneficiaries of NSFAS. But there could be many other things like the missing medal that students may want to attend to. But going back to negotiations is the only solution at the moment. No amount of anarchy, violence, destruction of property, because going back to negotiation will also be a tool to isolate elements of anarchy who have already hijacked these protests.
With regards to another conversation that has been doing the rounds, a lot of people are saying that the ANC has promised free education for everyone. The ANC has failed to deliver on that promise. As the spokesperson, what is your response to comments of that nature?
If you see how much we have done in terms of implementing progressively that policy, you will appreciate that we have done even beyond what the Freedom Charter says. If you look at the basic education, about 60% of schools are no-fee schools at basic level. In other words, already we are talking about 1 million school goers who are not paying fees at the basic level. At the higher education, again, if you read the Freedom Charter in context, it says the doors of learning shall be open. On tertiary education, it says, among others, scholarship will be of assistance by the state on a basis of merit. We have offered through NSFAS beyond just merit. We have offered on the basis of a need. And I think what the demand must also help is how do we progressively achieve and the objective of a free quality education for the poor, to an extent that you balance that demand with a number of other contending demands the country has. But the allegation sometimes is made as though that nothing has been done. You won't have so many students in institutions of learning today who come from poor backgrounds if it was not an intervention of state. But to what an extent that intervention of state has helped many other students who would have been there in institutions, it's a matter that must go to negotiations and be debated.
Just lastly, spokesperson, before I let you go, a lot of students are of the view that the Minister of Higher Education, Blade Nzimande, is not doing enough here. We're not seeing enough of him engaging with these students. What is the ANC stance with regards to the Minister of Higher Education and how he is handling this entire situation?
I think Minister Blade has done what he could. You will see even in the announcement that he made. And I think that if there are issues that need to be debated, it must not be about a person, because we must not institutionalize the work of government. Because Blade is the implementer of the policies of government led by the African National Congress. If there are issues, let those issues be debated on the table, on the round table.
We hear you. Thank you very much, spokesperson, for your time this afternoon. Appreciate you chatting to us. Zizi Kodwa, the ANC spokesperson, calling for things to head back to the negotiating table with regards to what's being seen across the country at various tertiary institutions. We are seeing institutions being vandalized, students being arrested, students being shot at with rubber bullets, stones being pelted. The ANC spokesperson there encouraging students, university management and government to come back to the negotiating table and continue the conversation there. We are going to keep you up to date. We've got various reporters across the country at the various tertiary institution campuses.